we're back. What a surprise. There was another Daredevil Born Again episode, so we're back. I wasn't here last week, so, but now I'm here. Yay! I'm just keep, disappearing like Matt does. Like, whoa, once I'm here, once I'm not. Once I'm here, once I'm not.
Peekaboo! Ah! How the hell did you do that? Look, I thought you disappeared, otherwise I wouldn't have picked mine. Oh, great, leave when I'm right in the middle of a sentence.
I don't know. Fuck that. Anyway.
Lily wasn't here for the warm-up, so she's bringing in some weird energy.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
You can say, like, Matt's doing the hokey pokey here. Like, he's in, out, in, out. Does he shake it all about? We'll
really
find
does
out.
Shake it all about.
That's what she said.
Nice. Nice.
I'm good
All
at
right.
this.
I'm good at this.
Oh. You are very good. This is going so well. Yes. Anyway.
Stop it. I introduced Tom to a very silly video last week and now he's torturing me with it.
Oh. Okay. Yeah, that's going to happen with Tom. I should have warned you about that. Then once you do something, he's going to pick up on it and he's never going to let it go.
To be fair, it's a great video, so I don't mind it too much.
All right. So let's introduce our little cast. We have Ian.
Hello there.
We have Tom.
What's up?
We have Katie.
Hello.
And me, Lily Kay. Yay. We're back in business. And first, we're going to talk about Daredevil Born Again, a new episode without spoilers, just quickly putting it all together so you're safe. If you haven't seen the episode, you can listen to this part now. And we're going to start with Tom. Tom, what did you think?
I enjoyed it more than the previous two.
Okay.
It was. I still found it a bit frantic and sort of like too much clubbed together to try and get through.
Okay.
I liked the general vibe more because it kind of felt more in line with episode 4, which my biggest issue was that 5 kneecapped that whole like momentum and vibe. But some odd editing choices I was picking up throughout kind of like threw me. Specifically some ADR, it looked like, where mouths were moving and nothing was coming out, and vice versa.
Okay. You're noticing things that I never do, and then after you say it, I'm like, oh, you're right. So you definitely have to point those out. Ian, what did you think?
I liked some stuff. I didn't like most of it, but like I'm chill about that. Yeah.
Okay.
I think this episode sucked. It's the first time I felt like I was like, that was shit, actually.
Wow.
And I stand by all of my thoughts from every previous episode, but I do think that this was the worst episode yet.
Pretty interesting.
I'm shocked.
I came in here really chill, thinking,
I know.
I'll give some ground here, and just say I liked some of it.
Hey,
And here's Katie.
I do have things that I enjoyed, but I have other things. There's a lot of things in this episode structurally. I think it's a mess.
Yeah.
I think the editing is awful in this episode, and that is the thing I just highly like. Storytelling wise, sure, whatever, but like it feels just like it was really badly put together compared to some of the other episodes.
Okay, that's surprising. So I'm a bit shocked by that, since you've been the voice of like, this is great, and we were the naysayers in the past.
Hey, I never said that, I still have the ability to watch things as they come. I'm not blind.
I know. I'm not saying you are. So. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I think I spend more time looking at my phone than the actual screen.
Oh, no.
Which is, when it comes to me, that's not a good sign for anything. So, yeah, this was a rough one. I think this might have been the roughest one out of all of them. Which is quite disappointing. I wasn't here last week, so I can say this. I actually was like, oh wow, these 2 episodes I quite enjoyed. So I was very, very hopeful, and I was like, oh yeah, we're stepping on the right path. I can feel the energy coming back from the original run, and then this happened. So it's time to get into spoilers, because otherwise you're not gonna understand what we are blabbering about and what was the problems. So here we are, and we're going to talk about it. So transition. talk about this episode without getting a headache.
Where do we want to start? I mean,
I'm-
can I start with the things that I actually quite liked?
Yeah,
Yes,
do
please.
that. You know what?
Please,
Let's do
yes,
that. That sounds
yes,
nice.
do that.
You know,
Let's do a round of positivity.
let's
Yes.
do a little bit of
Before we
positivity.
shit on the entire rest of the episode,
Yes.
let's do a round of positivity.
The power! I said the power of positivity!
I think everything with Fisk in it this week was, and Vanessa and Luca and Buck, brilliant.
Yes,
Loved it.
yes,
Love that
Agreed.
dynamic. Love how that's progressing.
yes.
I love that we don't know whether Vanessa is on Fisk's side at the moment, or she lured Luca into that trap, or she's on Luca's side and she actually tried to kill her husband. It's probably unlikely, but I like that they're keeping it open at this moment. The way this series goes, they'll say, "Oh, do you remember when I led Luca in for you in the first 2 seconds of the next episode?" But I liked the way that they keep an air of mystery. The way Buck reveals himself and shoots out of the darkness was fucking fantastic. I loved everything about Fisk and Vanessa's story here today.
Yeah, I agree.
This is nice.
Yes.
Look at us. Hey, look at us. Look at us. Huh? Who would have thought? Not me.
No,
Excellent.
I definitely agree. I also really think one of the very strong parts of the episode was Fisk's monologue about like his perspective on Daredevil and the whole concept of vigilantism, because I think it shows just how like warped his perspective on everything is, in a way that feels very believable to me. In that it just like it very much highlighted this is a Fisk who really believes that he is the good guy, and that like it was the thing about like how he came in and beat up a bunch of blue collar workers who were just trying to make some money. It was like, you are forgetting the real harm that like the things that you were doing to a lot of people in the city. But like, I thought that whole section was really, and obviously Vincent D'Onofrio gives a killer monologue.
Great.
Yes.
It was very funny after the episode, seeing that some people were like questioning whether or not Vanessa did that on purpose, or whether like he was just anticipating it. Because I immediately read it as, because it just the way that she was smiling said to me like, oh, because I knew before it happened. I was like, well, he knows he's coming. Then I think that to me that read like, I don't know if she's entirely on his side, but I think that I felt like they were working together in that moment.
Well, you could even interpret like when she sent the message, "He's alone." Yeah, she could be sending it to Luke, saying that Fisk is alone, or she was sending it to Fisk, saying that he's coming alone.
No, I think
Luca coming alone.
no, I think it was. I think she was sending it to Luca, but like I think what I did like about her performance is that she is playing it very close to the vest, where she's just like playing that level of amused in a way that's actually very hard to read, but other people are reading things onto it a lot. That was nice. I liked that a lot.
I felt like she was more like 75% Fisk is going to kill him, but 25% if he kills him.
I think that's fair.
You know, it's fine. I'll take over the business. We're all good again. Happy lives.
Yeah, I think they still gonna do, like, I think Vanessa for me is in the gray area where because of fuck is his name? Adam
With the nice hands.
yes. I think that
was a detail that was brought up very specifically by her.
Right.
yes, she did mention the nice hands. Yeah, I think, you know, because of that little detail, yeah, I think she's on a 50-50 like kind of way. And I think they're gonna play into that more at the end. Although she's starting to annoy me a little bit. That's just a little problem. But anything else that's positive? Anyone?
No BB report this time of unnecessary cutting to the street view.
How dare you? How dare you?
True.
How dare you?
There was a little bit of BB report, but it was used in a way that I actually liked.
Yeah,
like that actually felt
someone
like it
watching
added to it. Yeah.
Yeah, but like because that's been one of my big things the past how many episodes was like it'd be doing something, but then it would just cut to this BB report thing, but then it would also be establishing shots of the city, and then you go back. It's like they picked one, it seems like, but this stuff was the best, and it felt more in place here than other episodes where it just did. To me, it felt like they felt like afterthoughts.
I guess let's talk about negative stuff, which is everything else.
Just to kick off the negatives, still on Fisk. The first point I noticed the bad ADR where the mouth was moving and there was nothing.
Okay.
It was in that scene where he's given his monologue about Daredevil and everything. If you look at his mouth, because there's so many fucking cuts, which is something that happens this entire episode. It's like, Jesus Christ, just stay still. There was sometimes where his mouth was moving, nothing was coming out, or his mouth was closed and words were coming out. And especially because as it was switching, I kept looking at Fisk to figure out where he was, and I would see his mouth and it would not be matching up. And I'm like, that's bad.
I'm not a puppet. I'm a real boy.
That's really bad.
I didn't notice it, or there was I felt like I noticed it every once in a while where it wasn't like literally going, oh, that's a bad ADR moment, but like on that way that you can kind of tell when something's not very well put together. Like even if you're not like fully cognizant of it, I was like, something feels off. Especially I think in the audio as well.
It was
where
also
a bit
fucked.
Sounds a little bit like there's ADR happening.
Yeah, I noticed the audio quality and it just like that bugged me, even though the rest of the content of the scene was good. The execution just was like, ugh. It could have been great.
I do have to check that back because I did point out in one of our previous episodes that Vincent D'Onofrio is really good at talking through his teeth, which is actually not very easy to do. So I don't know if it's like
no, the mouth was fucking.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well, I'm gonna now look that back. I was only paying attention to the Fisk part. I'm not gonna lie, so I can definitely go back to that and check it again. But okay, yeah, I was kind of thinking that maybe you're gonna point that out. Okay, so let's talk about the everything else as well. That's not Fisk related. Let's do, because we did this in the past, let's do by characters. Okay. I think that's the easiest way to summarize it. So let's start with our hero Matt. And I'm gonna let Katie start because
you should.
Well, here's the thing. I've got no issues with Matt specifically. It's just the way that they're utilizing Matt within the episode that I have an issue with.
Okay.
It's like the episode, by all accounts, when it comes to any of the actual criticisms, comes down to a structural issue because the editing was so fucked. It was so rushed. You kind of things just started happening without really any build up to them at all, and then suddenly there's just resolution going on everywhere.
I have such a problem with the timeline of this episode.
It doesn't make sense.
None
There's
of it
just stuff
fucking
happening.
makes sense.
Does that make sense? Ladies and gentlemen, I am not making any sense. None of this makes sense.
They don't have enough time to do the things that they did in this episode.
Yeah. It didn't feel so much like there was care happening for Matt in the writing this episode, so much as he was just there to facilitate the story beats that they wanted to get finish in the episode. But because the episode was so short, it kind of felt like they didn't care about the story beats that they were giving us. So it didn't feel like they cared enough about Matt in the episode really at all. Which makes me sad, because there's some really interesting little nuggets of character stuff in here when it comes to Matt and the way that he represses things and uses sex as a way to completely deviate from any real conversation. One thing I did actually like is in the conversation he has with Heather morning after, when she basically straight out asks him, are you doing this as a form of self-harm? He goes, haha, no, and then immediately puts his glasses on, in the most obvious, oh, I'm just gonna fucking close off from you now. Because in many ways, the glasses are a sense of it's another mask, which made me laugh, but not in a sort of oh, that's a good character moment way, in a sort of just felt like everything to do with things that they wanted to bring up about Matt's character was told to us in this episode as opposed to shown to us gradually and through, action.
Mm.
It was a very heavy episode, and not in a good way. Like, it's a lot of things I've wanted to hear about Matt as a character, but not I don't want it like this. I want it to be shown to me. I don't want it to be told to me through the therapist character that we've created.
Not like this. Not like this.
I still don't like her. Like,
No.
I don't care. I don't care for her.
I have a lot of my points are about Heather, but I'll wait until we get onto her specifically.
Yes.
If you want to talk about Matt specifically now.
Yes.
I want to say, he's dumb because when he goes back to the Muse's lair, and it's like, this is an active crime scene. There's
I know.
probably forensics.
I thought the exact same thing.
And like, and he's looking at the pictures, so he just takes out his fucking grippers, and it's like, I'm gonna put all my fingerprints all over this. My blood's already there, but
I know what they were going for, because it was
but
like,
it's so dumb.
And it was so obviously telegraphed as well. Whether he did the thing of like feeling her face, which is a thing that he's done with other people. He did it with
He did it with Jennifer Garner when he was Ben Affleck. Yeah.
I was going to say specifically he did it with Claire in the first season of the original show, because, iterations and all that sort of stuff. And it is a thing of, like, I understand. But, like, it was so, like, you could have, like, that could have been done in, like, a previous episode, so it didn't feel quite so obvious.
I'm so annoyed about that episode, that whole mechanic, because, one, he knows...
That's also not how it works.
He knows Muse is a fucking artist. But he doesn't know how good he is. He could be fucking Picasso. He had no idea what he was trying to draw. And two, like, he's using acrylics. There's no brushstrokes on there. Definitely not. Like, they're all bobbly. You'd think that he'd be looking for, I don't know, someone with severe leprosy or something. Because there's absolutely no way you'd be able to recognize someone's face. However good he is not that good.
My favorite,
straight up, not how that works.
My favorite part about that was that he's touching the painting, and there's this very heavy brush stroke like through her forehead, and he brushes it through that, and suddenly Heather, and I'm like, does Heather have a big ass stroke in her fucking forehead? You fucking idiot.
The only thing I can imagine is that he could, like, he recognized, like, the brow bone. He's like, that's it, like, the shape of the brow bone is like the closest thing. But that's not enough of a face to recognize anybody.
Even then, like, the size of the picture and her face would be different. So they'd be like different spots in comparison to like the rest of the face. So like even then, like I could see like how he may have, like you said, but still.
It's stupid.
Not how, it's stupid.
Stupid.
It's stupid, and Matt is stupid. Yeah, it just basically, how has he not been caught?
I don't know.
He leaves blood everywhere, and
He's just put his fingerprints all over a crime scene.
Yeah, which is still active. Not like they've left and they're not going to come back. No, they're going to come back. There's a police officer right outside the fucking door.
Mm-hmm.
You could also get the exact same thing if he wore like latex gloves. Like the thing he was doing was feeling for ridges, and he could do that through latex gloves. I understand why he can do it through the gloves he was wearing. Those are a bit too like intense, but like thinner gloves. But if you really wanted to go down that route, which you shouldn't, because it's really stupid.
Dumb.
Have him take the picture. Have him take it, leave, and then it's just not there anymore.
It doesn't make
get
sense.
Daredevil into Heather's office. It's just a plot device to get Daredevil into Heather's office. I assume that it was pretty close. It was like a 2-second walk from the train tracks to Heather's office.
Oh well, it's this is where it comes out that they didn't really have time to build anything out, because I think showing Bastian was his real name at a previous episode. I think if they would have done more with that, and we would have gotten a lot more build up to Bastian being obsessed with Heather instead of like just pushing it into this one episode, that would have been actually a very interesting thing to witness, and to witness that actually Matt is because he's a bit of his own world and own head. He's not even noticing anything because he just doesn't have the capacity to pay attention to his own fucking girlfriend because he's just, everywhere else in life, and he's grieving. He's suddenly going back to being Daredevil, and it would make sense that he didn't notice all the signs that maybe Heather could have hinted at with conversations. But alas, yeah, unfortunately, it feels like that we are stepping onto the territory of another very rushed Marvel series where we just wanted to get things out very quickly. So it's a bit disappointing, and I think this is the episode where it shows the most.
The episode, to me, it was confusing to me, because this feels like the first episode that we've seen that had basically all new material. Like, I don't know if any of I can't see anything in here that would have come from the last version of the show. Why were they? It truly felt like they were like, we just have to get this fucking over with. We need this storyline gone. So let's just finish it now.
Finish it. What? Finish it.
Why was it only 35 minutes long? That's not enough time in a show like this.
You say 35 minutes, yet when I was watching it felt longer. Which is probably a bad thing then.
It is a bad thing.
Like, the overall time, the length of it on Disney Plus is about 42 minutes. But
then credits,
you have to understand, the credits are at least 5 of that. So it's just like, there's like, what? I don't understand the point of rushing. It just felt like they had complete contempt for the stuff that they had in it, like this storyline, and they were just like, it was like such an afterthought. They were just like, oh, we just have to get this over with, and then we can get back to the other stuff that we've got going on. I'm like, why did you put it in the first place? Just get rid of it.
And my last thought on Matt is that his altercation with Jerry in the law offices, his justification was like...
Cherry, yeah.
Isn't it Jerry?
His name is Cherry.
Cherry. I've just been calling him Jerry for this whole time. Never mind.
Yeah, no, his name is Cherry.
Cherry, it's like Cherry. Cherry.
Cherry.
His justification for putting the mask back on. Like, I know he's just an idiot. Like, his justification was, oh, are we giving the police enough time? It'd been less than a day since he found out that there was a serial killer in the city. Less than a day. If he had said, "Oh, I really wanted to go and find this cute little girl that came to me for help. I was really worried about. I had to do it because otherwise, everyone would see me as Daredevil. Not the police weren't going to do anything, were they? But because like they give him half a day to find him.
I think that honestly that comes from like the build up of everything else that we've had in the season, as opposed to this specific crime. I think it's to do with everything else that has happened as it's gone on, and the idea that there has been a serial killer going around has killed 60 people, and they've not known about it up until this point, speaks to their lack of.
I get what you're saying, but also the justification doesn't make sense to me. Yeah. And he's doing that Matt thing where he's being
very self-centered. Yeah, I know.
Arrogant and hypocritical and not very likable.
Very true.
Like, that's the sort of thing that does make him a great character, because because
you hate him, right?
Because at times you're like, Matt, I'm going to punch you in the face. That is the vibe. And that's why I enjoy, because like he's clearly got a very good heart and a good moral compass and all this sort of stuff, but he's also a massive hypocrite, and I want to shake him a lot of the time. That to me is a character that I enjoy a lot. He is annoying me a lot at the moment, don't get me wrong, but it was because of that sort of stuff that it's the first time properly in this series, but I really miss Karen and Foggy at this point, because at least those were characters that were like as whatever feelings you have on Karen, at least they had an actual relationship, and she knew everything about him, and she would call him on his bullshit. And Foggy in the same way. Like, these were people who have known him for a long time and knew his, like, eccentricities. Right now, he's got absolutely no one who can actually, who you feel like reliably can go, hey, you're being a shithead. It's why Foggy was so important to him as a person.
Don't be a dick! It's never too late to stop being a dick.
And I think that is, that at the moment seems like a feature and not a bug. But, like, I don't like the way that it's come about. I don't feel like they've connected that feeling of him feeling very unmoored to the fact that Foggy's not around very well.
Just want to jump in quickly about the law office stuff with Cherry and the partner. I forgot her name.
Kirsten.
Is it Kirsten? I don't fucking care as well about that. That's just boring and shit. Like, that I feel like was a holdover from the previous creative team, but it's just, I've never cared for it this entire time.
Yeah.
I don't think it adds really anything besides just getting Matt back into the courtroom for those 2 episodes. Yeah, and this episode didn't change my thoughts on it whatsoever.
It's just a shame because the original series, one of the things it did really well was taking side characters like Cherry, like Kirsten. In the original series, they would have had like home lives and like motivations outside of anything to do with Matt, because it was one of the best. I've seen a lot of people talking about it recently. Like, I miss Nadeem from the 3rd season of the original. I miss him so bad. What a great character that only came in season 3. They did a whole arc for him throughout the entire season, and like you knew who he was, like, and he was a side character by all accounts, but he was a completely fleshed out side character. Ben Urich as well, same sort of deal. You had a sense of who these people were and like what their own motivations and stuff, like, that made sense to the thematics of the story outside of just who Matt is. So whereas every other side character currently is there to service Matt's story, which is really boring. Like, nobody wants that. Nobody wants, like, it, like, I don't want that.
I don't want it. I told you I don't want it.
And I would say that as somebody who loves Matt, but like, that's only going to be interesting to me when the other people are interesting. If they're not interesting, why do I want to see my guy interact with all these other people? You're not going to get anything new out of it.
All right, Heather and Bastion. I guess we can't really separate the two.
You go first.
I know you're the host, but like it feels like you've got a lot to say about Heather.
He's Karen 2.0.
Oof.
I can't.
Strong words.
I'm really struggling with her character. Like, oh my God, why? Like, we got rid of one and now we have another. And I'm like, why? And the way she handled the whole situation in her office, ma'am, immediately quit your job, please. Just fuck off, because that was horrible. You literally triggered that man into being worse than he would have been probably. And I'm like, what is happening? And I always say this, and I always make sure to say this. I hate the character. I don't have a problem with the actor, especially true with Karen and Deborah Ann Wool. It's fucking great. I just don't like that character at all. Here, I will have to say this, and it's very rare that I say this. She's not a very good actress.
How could you even say that?
Here's the thing. A lot of times I just don't believe her acting. It feels very forced. It feels very unnatural and just really just the kind of acting where you're like, okay, I guess this exists. The other one is the guy who works for Fisk. That's the other one. The stupid guy who
Daniel Blake.
Michael Gandolfini.
Just like, and I'm like, what was the casting director doing when he chose these people? And I know that's very mean, but I think I can say a little bit more because I'm also doing acting, and I would be embarrassed in their place because that's just not good acting. I'm so sorry. I will never apologize when I say this about Gal Gadot, but I will say this.
So true.
Actress, yeah.
I'm sure they're lovely people, but Please stop acting. Thank you for coming to my
Okay,
TED talk.
I'm gonna add another perspective on this because honestly, for the at least part of that, I don't agree on the comparison with Karen because I think they did a much better job of drawing Karen out as a character. We know who she is again outside of Matt. We have no idea who Heather is. This is my problem with her as a character. This entire time, she's just there as girlfriend and also therapist, which are two things you don't want to just make a woman into a show. That is misogynistic, just through and through. I literally, one of my points is here is, well, first thought, I don't think Karen no shit.
Heather.
I don't think Heather is a good therapist. She's just bad at her job, as it turns out.
She's not good at this.
No.
She really is not good at this, is the
I'm good at this.
I'm not saying that every therapist in a very scary situation isn't going to know how to talk down a mentally disturbed patient, but I feel like most of them would do a better job than that.
Instead of just going, "You're crazy."
What the fuck? I just, everything about it was I was watching it. I was just watching it none. You did nothing right. At no point did you make a correct choice.
Nope.
Wrong, 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 wrong. Wrong, 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 wrong.
In this situation. And then I was sitting there going, maybe I'm feeling a bit judgmental because I have watched a lot of Criminal Minds recently. But it just I feel like you need to have I was on board with the fact that she clearly caught up to the fact that he was Muse very quickly. But at no point...
Wait, can we stop there for a second? Because I want to know if this was their first fucking session.
No, I don't think it was. That was the other thing that pissed me off about it. The impression I got is that she's been seeing him since that first interaction in the first episode, but we've not seen any of it.
Yeah.
Which is dumb as fuck.
So at least, let's say at least 6 sessions since that. And,
right.
He's been creepy motherfucker he was a creepy motherfucker when he met him.
Right.
Met her. Right. So 6 full, let's say, hour sessions. Let's be, probably, I don't know.
45 minutes.
45 minutes.
50 minutes, I think, is
50.
Yeah, 50 minutes. So we're talking 5 hours of time, one-on-one with Mr. Bastian Cooper, who is a creepy, creepy guy.
Mm.
Who knows Taekwondo?
In 3 months, and is apparently good enough to take on Matt, who has been a boxer his whole life.
I legit thought, this is the first time they've been seeing each other enough so that he's become obsessed with her.
With her.
Where'd that come from? Where'd that come from?
You don't know. That's the thing. We'll never know. It's yeah, it's so frustrating with the whole thing, because I think there would have been a really good story here. And I think actually the guy who played Bastian, I didn't look up who the actor is, did the role really, really well to a level where what he was given, yes. And I think there was more there. There was definitely more there. So it's now the Muse feels like another very, very wasted character that could have been so much more interesting. And really, we got to the point, and I really didn't think that this is going to happen, because I was predicting that as we will move forward, it will actually get to the point where it slowly gets back to its old glory. I feel like we just took a really, really big nosedive down. and we're like, no, and it's not gonna happen. Sorry for making you believe it will. It won't. So yes, do whatever you want with that information. Hello. And I'm like, what?
What? My hope is that now they've decided to completely put this stuff to bed. The only stuff we have left is very Fisk focused, with sprinklings of stuff to do with Frank and Bullseye.
Yeah.
Which
is
at
with 2
least,
episodes.
Yeah, but at least then that feels like at least we'll have that won't be finished in those 2 episodes. We'll have more of that in the next season.
We don't know. That's the thing.
That's my hope. That's where
I know, but I have to say, and I don't have faith in them anymore. They lost me.
It can't go on like this, can it?
It can.
I also don't like when things are like, oh, don't worry, guys, just get through this first season, and we promise season 2 will be good. We promise we'll start stuff towards the end of season 1, but to just come back for season 2. I think that's a bit of a cop out.
To be fair, I don't think that they're trying to do that. I just think that that's the way it's happened.
Yeah, but it's still I don't like that. To me, it just feels cheap. What else felt cheap was the conversation between Muse and Heather when she's tied up. That was the other time I noticed the ADR with Heather.
I think that's when I picked up on it.
How like she was just like, again, different audio levels and just talking and like not moving. I'm like, what are we doing here? This is Marvel. This is multi-million billion-dollar company. How the fuck have you cocked this so bad?
Like just like the fight scene afterwards as well.
The fight scene was god awful. I was watching it closely because it was like it was like cuts every half second. Cut, and I'm like, could you stay still for like longer than a second so I could see what's going on? Because it just feels like you're trying to hide like the fact that you didn't hire the stunt coordinator from the original show. That's what it feels like.
All this fight included, they all have suffered from the choppy editing, which you mentioned last week, Katie, as well. It's not good. I don't like them. No. Like, hearing, because again, I haven't watched the original series, hearing beforehand, like, oh, the fights are great, it's going to be like such really best fights in Marvel's ever done, and now I've gotten this, I'm just like, ugh.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go watch some of the original fights just to get a sense of like just how good they genuinely were.
They're really good.
Because plus because Charlie did so much work in the original series to get to a point where he could do most of it himself, and it feels like such a waste.
It is.
And
it is a waste.
They also just putting CGI and everything as well, like his traversal. Because I did see a clip on TikTok of him like parkouring across building roofs.
Is that the one where he did that extra spin for absolutely no reason?
Yeah.
I watched that the other day and I was like, oh, Matt, that's so extra.
I saw that, but then I just compared it to this, and whenever he's done any sort of like parkour or like acrobatic stuff, it's all just been CGI.
Yeah.
It is funny because the guy, Stephen DeKnight, who show ran the first season of the original Daredevil, was on Twitter recently, and he basically went, yeah, Matt would have been more acrobatic and like done a lot of the stuff that we're seeing now if we had the budget, but we didn't have the budget. That's the only reason we got the version of Matt that we did, or Daredevil that we did in the original series. But dare I say, I think it's better.
It is better.
It's just more realistic.
Yeah, the second they start using CGI for real actors who could, are there and could be used, and there are just so many better ways to do this. I mean, yeah, it's disappointing at this point. I'm sad. I'm a bit sad about it. I'm not gonna lie, because I was really rooting for them to get better as we move forward, and I don't think it's gonna happen.
They don't, at least in this season, they don't have enough time.
No,
because
no.
Like there's so many plot threads that they've just like jammed in, but they're also trying to fix from the previous creative team, but also they want to do their own thing, but also they don't, as you say, Kate, they don't want to put enough time into it. They don't want, obviously the lack of care in it. It's just like, why are we here?
That's the thing that has bugged me, because as I've said before, the stuff previously, it felt like there was a lot of care, to me anyway, that went into trying to stitch these things together. This is the first time I felt like there was contempt for the material, and that's the thing that pisses me off.
Look how they massacred my boy.
It is what it is at the end of the day. It's like,
Like how Muse is dead.
I did enjoy, and it would have been more satisfying if we had a better build up to it, but the fact that, Matt basically painted his final, a picture with Muse's blood.
Yeah, it was a dope
that
shot,
was dope. That was and the moment that he shot that thing through his arm, and also, wow, Jesus. I was like, that, good lord, probably could have killed somebody. But it was the moment he started pulling across the canvas, I went,
That's
You
what they're
know?
doing.
And I'm like, all right, that's pretty good. But like, that would have been way more satisfying if we had
Way
a
more.
better build up to it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like, I feel like you could have gotten to this point and had this episode still be the end of this storyline if we just had little bits and pieces throughout the rest of the episodes. Even just the first therapy session that he had with her, and then so that we could have a sense of like, and I know that therapists aren't meant to talk about their clients, but you know, there are ways to like talk around it and to get a sense of like, I have this really troubled client and it's kind of like hanging on me weirdly, sort of in that kind of way. So you get a sense that like she's talking to him and maybe gets the sense that like this is like a fucked up kid and like she feels bad for him. But no, we didn't get any of that. And we got a really bad confrontation when it came to the two of them.
So awful.
She's just
So
bad
awful.
therapist.
I just want Matt to bin her off.
We need to break up, but here's a puppy.
Wait, what?
I feel like she is on the way up because, like, I don't know, just something about the whole, like, the slicing of the wrist. I'm like, I thought she was dead there. And then, like, she's in the hospital and she's all weak. I feel like she's going to learn that Matt is Daredevil, but then also be
Figure
killed.
it out. He doesn't do that much to disguise his voice.
True.
I feel like she should have been able to put two and two together.
And how he was feeling, like, on the face again when she was, like, lying down, nearly dying. He's like, that's...
I think in that moment where she was feeling really weak, there should have been a moment where she thought it was Matt. And then in the hospital, she was like, oh, it was Daredevil. Even if she didn't end up putting exactly two and two together, I think that she should have mistaken Daredevil for Matt. And then afterwards been like, no, that's ridiculous, though. You can't be Daredevil in that sort of like, he's blind, he can't be going around beating people up kind of way.
That's not true! That's improbable!
Yeah, don't expect that much deepness from him. I'm sorry.
That's not even like... That's like rudimentary. That's the trouble. The thing that pissed me off about it in the scene, like, you know, with the two of them in his bedroom, it was like the thing I said earlier, and that she was basically saying, like, she started therapying him in a way that was so like she was doing. I don't know what it was about this episode and her character in particular, but they give her such expository dialogue when it comes to like describing other people, and I feel like they think, oh, she's a therapist, she can do that. But I'm like, there's a way of doing that in a way that's interesting, and not what you've done here, because it doesn't feel like she's been like it doesn't feel like she's been needling him about this entire time. It felt like she's been like, my boyfriend's totally normal. Hang on a second, why is he suddenly turning up with bruises? And I'm like, sorry, but like you as a therapist should have been able to pick up on his massive damage the moment you met him.
But is she just so a bangable man? That's it.
What? Oh, okay.
A bangable man.
Bangable man.
He came out of nowhere. Bang,
To be fair,
bang,
like
he
Bang, bangity bang, said a bang, bang, bangity bang, bang.
he does that very intentionally. You know, it's
being bangable. I mean, yes, obviously.
But like he did
He's
it
a
like
slut.
in this episode, he did it very because she started like she saw all the bruises on his back, and he went, time to distract my girlfriend, and like
it works.
It worked.
I don't know if that's true. She got in the shower with him. Like,
oh yeah, I mean,
she wanted the sexy time.
Sure,
it was,
but like he definitely redirected her away from the thing.
The thing.
No, the bruises.
Way.
Fuck's sake, guys! Some professionalism here.
What's that?
This is
We don't know that word.
professionalism for couch soup.
No,
and I'm
it
here,
just,
so.
The other thing that pissed me off in that scene is that it's the first time I feel like we've seen Matt be as honest as as honest as he probably could be about like his like, you know, situation, which again pissed me off because it was a bit too expository. But he literally says like, this whole part of my life, this stuff feels like I'm lying, and she took that personally, and I'm like, girl, you're a bad therapist. I know that she's like acting like a girlfriend in that moment, but it just like pissed me off.
Yeah,
because I think if your emotionally repressed boyfriend suddenly comes to you and says something that feels extremely real, and your first instinct is to go, oh, I'm a lie now, am I? I'm like, no, you have to like, fucking take a step back and listen to what he's actually saying, as a therapist is meant to do. And I'm not saying that she should be his therapist, because she shouldn't, because that's not what girlfriends are for. I'm just saying it was just a badly written scene all around.
It was. It truly was.
And I think she adds anything to the
Nope.
show.
Nothing at all.
Which is annoying, because I think that you could have a character that, like, adds stuff. You could have just sent Matt to therapy. Like, I think you could have forced Matt into therapy, and it would have done a better job of this.
They're not going to do that, because we already had that with Bucky. And, two damaged people in the Marvel Universe doesn't work. Going to therapy.
Anybody goes to... I mean,
No.
It makes sense that Matt wouldn't go to therapy, don't get me wrong, but I feel like you could construct a reason why Matt could be forced into therapy.
It is what it is. Any other thoughts, or should we go and rate the episode?
Sorry, the timeline sucks.
Yeah,
absolutely
it does.
sucks. The police find a piece of parchment which they originally thought was clothing, and they managed to get it analyzed, track down where the store sold it, then track down the people who bought it, and then rule out 11 out of the 12 people and do a background check within the space of 2 hours. It doesn't fucking make sense. I watch police procedurals all the fucking time, and even that, with their made up bullshit machines like from Bones and stuff, that takes longer than this.
It's so dumb.
It's so dumb, it's brilliant.
No!
Yeah, no, you're right. It doesn't make any fucking sense.
No, nothing at all.
That was pretty much what I was going to say as well. Just like the police part of this just either didn't make sense or was just ugh.
Yeah.
One thing to add to end it on like a positive note, I did enjoy the press conference at the end with Fisk twisting the events into something that could add to his agenda. But I specifically liked the bit where they pulled up the mask like they were holding a decapitated head, because that was just gnarly, and I just thought that was I liked that a lot. Because it was almost like they were going one down. No, it was a smarter way of doing it the way that I was thinking of it, which I thought that he was going to set Daredevil up as somebody who killed Muse.
He will.
No, because he's made it out like the police killed Muse, so that they are, and his little anti-vigilante task force did it. So that doesn't really work at this point. But I do think that the way that they've done it is better for wider purposes, and so I have to give them that.
Yeah, he basically did. We got him, kids. We got him.
We got him.
Well done, everybody.
It doesn't help that you have a literal witness who did actually kill him, but that doesn't matter.
We got him.
No.
Hey, maybe that's because I'm not convinced she's making it out of this season alive. I just don't think that
he breaks Bullseye out of prison to go and kill her to cover his tracks.
I don't know exactly how it might happen. I would bid it more money on somebody in the anti-vigilante task force going and killing her, and then covering it up, because I think that kind of makes sense. But I also am the part of me, the feminist part of me goes, but I don't want them to fridge Matt's girlfriend because she's Matt's girlfriend. But also, I don't like her very much, and I don't think she's adding anything to the story. So I'm very conflicted here.
To be fridging, she has to die to enrich Matt's character. I think if she dies, she enriches nothing.
No,
but the purpose will be to give him man pain.
But even then, I don't think he'll get man pain from it. That's what I'm saying. With the way
he literally was listening to his girlfriend's heart as she told him she loved him. Just to double check that, that's not a healthy man.
Nah, he'd just be if she dies, he'd be single again, boy.
I don't think that he won't go that far, but to me, it feels like it's going to play out in the same way that when Elektra died, I was I didn't give a shit about it. In fact, I cheered because I fucking hated her, and I was really glad that her whole thing was gone from the series, and it was nothing to do with the fact that oh, I hate all of Matt's girlfriends or anything like that, because that is a sentiment I've seen online, and it's that I'm not fucking with that. That's weird. He's not real, and stop acting like women need to die to protect your little baby son. It's these characters that don't enrich the other character. They actively make them worse. I don't like that. I dislike it immensely. And I would hate it if it was like a friendship. Like, I hated Stick in the exact same way. Because Stick did the exact same thing of like completely fucking up Matt's life.
All right, let's read this episode. Transition. Here we go. Let's read it. Tom, let's start with you.
After my initial watch of it, I was like, oh, this was all right. And I was going to land on 6. But then after talking about it and thinking about it more, like, maybe 4 again?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think I reckon a 4 again. Like,
okay.
Like at the start, before we started talking about it, 6. Halfway through, we were talking about it, 5. At this end, 4.
Understandable.
I liked the Vanessa and Fisk stuff. So it had redeeming features, but most of it was fucking dumb. I am increasingly of the opinion that they only had space in this episode run for a Daredevil story or a Kingpin story, and not both.
Yeah.
And they should have just picked one and carried on. And I know that would eliminate one of the best characters in the show, if you go either way, but there's not enough room in this series for both of their arcs. I would give this one a 4 again. It was mostly a car crash. But Fisk and Vanessa were good.
Yeah, fair enough. Katie?
I'm just not somebody who can give like really low ratings. Just like out of the way I am. Instinct was 5. And that's bad for me. So we'll put it that way.
4. I agree. It's 4. Like, if I would be very mean, if it weren't for Fisk and Vanessa, it would be a 3. And then, but they definitely pulled it up to a 4. Yeah, sad days, my men, my guys, my ladies and gentlemen, everyone. It's just
I don't
frustrating.
know who the editor is, but they need a better editor.
They need a better editor, yes. 100%. All right. This is us talking about the latest episode of Daredevil Born Again. We will be back next week. And then what happens afterwards? I don't know, because 3 of us is going to be in Japan. So maybe it's going to be just Katie rambling all about the final episode.
I don't think anybody wants to watch that.
Who knows? You can never know. You can make a video essay.
I don't want to do that.
Fair enough. That's a different thing. Yeah, but we will figure it out. We will somehow talk about the last episode. I don't know how yet, but
I mean, I feel like it just might end up being a week late.
But then I have to start The Last of Us as well. So I'm like,
We'll figure
Logistics. We'll figure it out. But we will be back next week. So, you're going to see our lovely faces. It's going to be Ian, Tom, Katie, and myself, Lily Cake, and talking about Daredevil. Until then, please go on CouchSoup, read our articles, watch our other watching nows and other very, very fun stuff. Subscribe, rate, comment, and all that lovely thing. And if you're bored, we're going to be dropping an episode of To All the Films We Judged Before. We're going to do that now from at the end of every month or the beginning of every month. So you can go and check that out as well. That's me and Katie talking about movies and TV shows and all that stuff. We
had a long conversation about some of the Avengers stuff that's happening.
Yes.
That episode will be out by the time this episode is out. So
yes. So you can check that out as well. Until then, be good and goodbye.
Bye.
So like, whilst I... Oh, sorry. Go.
No. Go.
No, go.
No.
No.
Okay.
Shit. Have we even got a fucking outtake? Bloody hell.
No.
We've been too professional today.
Too professional today, yes.
We're good at this.
We're very good at this. Very professional.
Make a couple of soups for tonight.